The package that changed everything. Zixel was not a hero. He was just a courier, an alien delivery pilot who flew old cargo ships from one planet to another. His ship was small, rusted, and smelled like burnt circuits. But it flew. That's all he needed. On this day, Zixel received a last-minute package order. It came from a quiet human colony called New Terra 9. The instructions were strange. Do not open. Deliver in 48 hours. High priority. And the pay was double. Zixel didn't ask questions. More credits meant more fuel. More fuel meant more freedom. He lifted off, letting the stars blur past as his ship slipped into warp. For the first few hours, everything was quiet. Zixel sat in his pilot seat, chewing dried root sticks and humming an old Courier tune. The ship beeped now and then, adjusting course, but then, bang! A loud thud echoed from the cargo hold. Zixel frowned. No cargo should make noise. He grabbed a wrench and walked slowly toward the back of the ship. His feet echoed on the metal floor. Another sound followed, a soft sniffle. Then, crying. What the stars? Zixel opened the cargo hold and froze. There, hiding behind a large crate, was a small human boy. He had messy brown hair, torn clothes, and eyes filled with fear. His hands clutched a cloth bag to his chest like it was treasure. Zixel blinked. You're the package? The boy didn't answer. He just stared. Zixel crouched slowly. Hey, kid, I'm not gonna hurt you. Still silence. Then the boy whispered, Don't take me back. Zixel sighed and sat on a crate. This is way above my pay grade. After a long pause, Zixel offered the boy a drink pouch. The boy took it with shaking hands and sipped. What's your name? Zixel asked. Timmy. All right, Timmy. I'm Zixel. I deliver boxes, not kids. I'm not a package, Timmy said quietly. Zixel chuckled. Could have fooled me. He checked the crate next to the boy. No markings, just a fake shell to hide him. Someone smuggled this boy aboard. That meant danger. Zixel stood up. I should turn around, drop you off. Let the station sort this out. No! Timmy jumped to his feet. They'll find me. They'll hurt me. Zixel narrowed his eyes. Who's they? Timmy looked away. Bad men. They want this. He reached into his cloth bag and pulled out a small glowing chip. Zixel leaned in. That's a memory crystal. Where'd you get that? My mom. She said to run, said to hide, said to find someone who could help. His voice cracked. She didn't make it. Zixel felt a strange weight in his chest. He wasn't used to kids or crying. Before he could answer, alarm screamed on the control panel. Incoming vessel detected, locking on. Zixel ran to the cockpit. On the screen, a sleek black ship was gaining on them. No ID, no call sign. Weapons online. Great, Zixel muttered. Now I'm being chased. He looked at Timmy, who stood behind him, pale and shaking. They found me, the boy said. Seems that way. Zixel slammed a button. Hold on. The ship jerked hard as he dove into an asteroid field. Lasers flashed past them. The black ship followed, weaving through rocks and shadows. Zixel twisted the controls, flipping the ship upside down and between two spinning asteroids. One of the enemy shots hit a rock, and it exploded behind them. Timmy gripped the co-pilot chair with white knuckles. Are we gonna die? Not today, Zixel growled. He dropped the ship low into a dust cloud and cut engines. The lights dimmed. Everything went still. The enemy ship paused, scanned, and then moved on. Zixel waited 1 full minute before breathing again. He turned to Timmy. Okay, kid. Looks like we're in this together. Zixel gave Timmy a bunk to sleep in, some warm food, and a blanket. He stared at the memory crystal Timmy gave him. It glowed gently in his palm. What's on this? He asked. Timmy answered from his bed. Something big. My mom said it could stop the war before it starts. Zixel blinked. War? She was a scientist. She found something bad, but someone wanted to hide it. So they killed her. Zixel stared out the window into the stars. He was just a courier. He didn't sign up for saving the galaxy, but now a kid with tears in his eyes had nowhere else to go, and maybe, just maybe, Zixel was tired of running too. Timmy woke up to the sound of banging metal. Zixel was fixing something under the main console. Sparks flew. The ship smelled like burnt wires again. The boy rubbed his eyes and sat up. "What are you doing?" Zixel grunted. "Trying to patch the shield core. That last blast fried part of it." Timmy climbed down from the sleeping bunk and looked around the small ship. "Are they still chasing us?" Zixel paused. "Maybe." That word sent a chill down Timmy's back. The courier stood and wiped grease off his claws. "We need fuel and a quiet place to hide." He walked to the cockpit and tapped a few buttons. A small star map appeared. "There's an old refueling station on Courier 7. Nobody goes there anymore, abandoned. Maybe we'll get lucky." Timmy asked, "Can we send the crystal from there?" Zixel shook his head. "Not with these old systems. We'd need a secure transmitter and Courier 7 doesn't have one." The boy looked disappointed. Zixel sighed. "Look, I still don't know why they're after you, but they're fast and they're armed. If we want to stay alive, we move now." Timmy nodded. The engines fired up again. 3 hours later, they landed on Courier 7. The planet was dark, with a red sky and broken towers. Dust blew across the landing. The refueling station stood crooked, half buried in sand. It was quiet. Too quiet. Zixel handed Timmy a small shock baton. "Just in case, stay close." They stepped out together. The air was dry and heavy. Wind howled through rusted walls. Inside the station, lights flickered weakly. Power still worked. Barely. Zixel found an old fuel terminal and began the slow process of draining whatever was left in the tanks. "This will take 20 minutes. Timmy wandered a few steps away, staring at a cracked display screen. Old ads played, selling gadgets and space gear from 50 years ago. Then, footsteps. Timmy turned sharply. "Did you hear that?" Zixel froze. Another step. Then another. A figure appeared in the doorway. Tall, wrapped in black cloth and metal armor. A bounty hunter. Zixel cursed and pulled Timmy behind him. The hunter raised his voice. "Turn over the boy and the chip, I won't ask twice." Zixel tightened his grip on his wrench. "He's just a kid." "The chip contains military secrets," the hunter said coldly. "He's worth more dead than alive." Zixel whispered, "Run on my signal." "What?" Timmy whispered back. "Don't argue. Just run." Zixel threw a fuel canister at the hunter and fired a stun burst at it. The canister exploded in smoke and fire. "Now!" Timmy ran. Zixel followed, dodging. Laser blasts. The bounty hunter chased them through metal halls and collapsing walls. They ducked into a control room. Zixel locked the door behind them. "We're trapped," Timmy cried. Zixel scanned the room and spotted a ventilation shaft. "Not yet." He boosted Timmy up first. "Crawl fast. I'll hold him off." "No," Timmy protested. "Go." The boy crawled into the shaft. Zixel turned and faced the door. The metal began to melt. The hunter was cutting through. Zixel took a deep breath and whispered, "I was just a courier." The door exploded open. Timmy crawled through the vents, heart racing. He heard the blasts. Behind him. He wanted to cry. He wanted to scream. Then he saw a light. The vent opened outside, behind the station. He tumbled out, covered in dirt and sweat. "Zixel!" he called. No answer. Then, boom! The station shook. Flames burst through a side window. "No," Timmy whispered. But before he could move, someone grabbed his shoulder. He spun around and gasped. It was Zixel. Burned. Bleeding. But alive. "Nice escape route," the alien muttered. Timmy threw his arms around him. "I thought you were dead." "Me too," Zixel coughed. "Let's get out of here." Back on the ship, Zixel collapsed in the pilot seat. "We can't keep running like this." Timmy sat beside him, still holding the chip. What do we do? Zixel looked at the screen. We go where no one expects us. Where? Zixel typed coordinates. The Whisper Zone, he said. Timmy blinked. That place is not real. It is, Zixel said. A hidden corner of space. Smugglers, rebels, and people who hate the big powers. If we want to send this chip, someone there might help us. Timmy nodded. Okay. Zixel glanced at the boy and gave a small smile. You're braver than I expected. You're cooler than I thought. They both laughed. The ship lifted off again, heading into unknown space together. The stars outside the window looked cold and quiet. But inside the ship, the air felt tense. Zixel flew in silence, hands gripping the controls. His injuries were bandaged, but he moved slower than before. Timmy sat beside him, holding the glowing memory chip tightly. They had escaped the bounty hunter, for now, but the war wasn't over. Where are we going? Timmy asked quietly. Zixel replied, The Whisper Zone. What is that? Zixel took a breath. A place between systems. It's not on maps. Full of old rebels, ex-soldiers, smugglers, ghosts. People who know how to stay hidden. Timmy tilted his head. You know someone there? Zixel gave a small nod. An old friend. Name's Lura. She used to be a spy. If anyone can decode that crystal, it's her. Timmy looked down at the chip. Will it really stop a war? Zixel's voice turned serious. That depends on what's inside. Hours later, the ship entered dark space. No planets, no stations, just empty blackness. Suddenly, a red light flashed. Warning. Cloaked object detected. Zixel didn't panic. He tapped the console and spoke calmly. This is Courier Zixel requesting passage. I have the crystal. For a few seconds, nothing happened. Then a new voice came through the speakers. Rough. Female. Cold. Zixel? You've got some nerve showing up here. Zixel smirked. Good to hear your voice too, Lura. They were guided to a hidden asteroid base, cleverly built inside a floating rock. As they docked, metal arms grabbed the ship and pulled it into the hangar. Inside, armed guards waited. One of them stepped forward. She was tall, with cybernetic eyes and a sharp stare. Lura, Zixel said. She crossed her arms. You look worse than last time. I feel worse too. Her eyes shifted to Timmy. And the boy? The one holding the key, Zixel replied. Lura raised an eyebrow. Follow me. They walked through the dusty halls of the base. Old, tech lined the walls, some glowing, some sparking. Timmy stared in wonder. Is this a rebel base? Was, Lura said. Now it's just us ghosts. They entered a small lab. Screens buzzed. Old satellites blinked on shelves. Lura cleared a table. Let's see the chip. Timmy placed the memory crystal on the scanner. It began to glow. Lines of code filled the screen. Lura's eyes narrowed. Zixel asked, What is it? Lura didn't speak for a long time. Finally, she said, This is evidence of Project Blackfire. Zixel frowned. That sounds bad. It is, she said. Very bad. Lura zoomed in on the data. Images appeared. Documents. Video logs. Timmy saw his mother's face on the screen. She worked for a peaceful research team, Lura explained. They discovered a secret weapon being developed by a human military faction. Something that could wipe out whole planets using artificial gravity. Zixel cursed under his breath. Lura continued. They wanted to keep it hidden, but she copied the files and tried to warn others. They found out. That's why she died. Timmy stood still. His eyes filled with tears. She saved this for me, he whispered. She told me to run. Zixel placed a hand on his shoulder. She was brave. Lura looked serious. With this data, we could expose everything, but the galaxy won't believe it unless it comes from someone big. Like who? Zixel asked. The Galactic Council, she said. If they hear it, they'll have to act, but we can't contact them from here. Timmy looked up. Then we go to them. Zixel shook his head. Too dangerous. They'll be expecting us. Timmy stepped forward. But if we don't, more people could die, like my mom. Zixel went quiet. Laura watched them both, then finally nodded. I might know a way. She led them to an old transmission tower buried deep in the asteroid. This was once used to send secret messages across long distances. But it's broken now. Can we fix it? Timmy asked. Zixel scratched his head. Maybe. I'll need tools in a few hours. Do it fast, Laura said. If the bounty hunters tracked you once, they can do it again. Zixel got to work. Timmy stayed close, handing him tools, holding wires, and asking questions. For the first time, they weren't just running. They were fighting back. Hours passed. The tower flickered, then hummed. Zixel grinned. It's alive, Laura stepped forward. Now we send the truth. She helped Timmy write a short message, one the council would understand. Then she attached the files from the memory crystal. They pressed send. The transmission shot out into the stars. Now all they could do was wait. But as they walked back to the ship, a new alarm rang. Incoming ships detected. Laura ran to the radar screen. 3 bounty vessels, she said. They're locking on. Zixel grabbed Timmy's hand. Time to go. Wait, Laura said. I'll cover you. Zixel turned. What? You sent the truth. I'll make sure it survives. She smiled. Zixel's eyes softened. Thank you. He and Timmy ran to the ship. Engines roared. As they blasted into space, explosions lit the asteroid behind them. Laura was gone. But the message was out. The stars felt colder now. Zixel's ship floated through deep space, dark and quiet. Inside, Timmy sat near the window, staring out with sad eyes. She stayed behind for us, he whispered. Zixel nodded slowly. Laura was brave. She knew what was coming. Timmy looked down at the small bag his mother gave him. The memory crystal still inside. Do you think the council got the message? Zixel didn't answer. He didn't know. But he had to believe they did. They needed repairs and a place to hide. Zixel punched in coordinates to a remote outpost called Drift Point Delta. It wasn't on any legal maps, but smugglers and traders knew of it. No rules, no questions, just trade, drinks, and danger. Perfect. The ship limped into the hangar hours later. Inside, neon lights flickered. Creatures of all kinds filled the station. Aliens, hybrids, even 1 or 2 humans. The air smelled of oil and smoke. Zixel pulled a worn coat over Timmy. Stay close. Don't talk to anyone. Timmy nodded. They walked into the chaos. They found a small mechanic shop run by a blue-furred alien named Rig. He grinned when he saw Zixel. Well, if it isn't the courier who still owes me 3 engines. I need help, Zixel said, tossing a power cell onto the counter. Cash up front. Rig picked it up and laughed. Now we're talking. Zixel leaned in. Also need a quiet place to rest, just for the night. Rig raised an eyebrow. You're running from someone? Everyone. Rig grinned. Welcome to Drift Point. That night, Zixel and Timmy stayed in a tiny room above the shop. Metal walls, 1 bed, 1 window. Zixel checked the ship logs while Timmy tried to sleep. Then, tap, tap. A soft knock at the door. Zixel tensed. Who is it? It's me. Rig. Zixel opened the door. Rig looked nervous. You got trouble. What kind? The expensive kind. Before Zixel could ask more, the building shook. Explosions, screams, lights flashing red. Bounty hunters had found them. Zixel grabbed Timmy and ran downstairs. The shop was in flames. A group of armored hunters blocked the exit. Give us the boy, one shouted. Zixel spun and ran the other way, pulling Timmy through a maze of junk piles and old ship parts. One of the hunters fired. Sparks flew inches. From Timmy's face, they ducked into a broken shuttle. We're trapped, Timmy cried. Zixel looked around, then spotted a narrow vent under the wall. Crawl through. It leads to the lower deck. What about you? I'll slow them. Down, go! Timmy crawled in, tears in his eyes. Zixel turned to face the hunters. He smashed a fuel pipe, causing a burst of fire between them. One hunter screamed as flames hit his arm. Zixel ducked behind crates, throwing old tools to confuse them. But there were too many. They caught him, slammed him to the ground. The leader, a tall alien with silver armor, knelt beside him. Where's the child? Zixel smiled weakly. Gone. The hunter raised a fist. Tell me or die. Suddenly, boom, the floor under them exploded. Timmy had returned. He found a plasma charge in the junk and used it to blow open the vent and the floor. Smoke and fire filled the room. Zixel grabbed the hunter's weapon, shot 2 guards, and ran with Timmy through the hole in the ground. They dropped into a trash tunnel, dark, dirty, smelly, but safe. For now. They crawled through slime and wires until they reached an old hangar bay. Zixel hacked the panel. A door opened, revealing a small stolen skimmer. It's not pretty, Zixel said, coughing. But it'll fly. They jumped in. Engines fired. The skimmer burst through the station wall and shot into space. Timmy laughed, shaky and breathless. We made it. Zixel didn't laugh. Barely. He stared at the stars. We were betrayed. Someone told the bounty hunters where we were. Timmy looked confused. Rig? Zixel nodded slowly. I think so. He took my money, then brought them. Timmy's face twisted in anger. Why would he do that? Money. Fear. Doesn't matter now. Zixel leaned back, thinking. No more hiding. We need to move before the bounty network tightens. Where will we go? Zixel hesitated. There's one place left. Timmy leaned in. Where? Zixel replied. The Iron Ring. A circle of pirate ships in deep orbit. If we survive that, there's a rebel contact there. Someone with a direct line to the council. Timmy smiled. Then let's go. As they flew into the void, Timmy clutched the crystal close. His mother's voice echoed in his mind. Be brave, Timmy. Speak for the truth, even when it hurts. Zixel looked at him and said softly, You okay? Timmy nodded. I'm ready. Zixel smiled. Good. Because this ride's only getting rougher. Zixel's stolen skimmer trembled as it flew into deep orbit. The stars looked different here, distant, twisted, and flickering like dying candles. Timmy sat strapped beside him, silent, holding the memory crystal in both hands. It still glowed, gently, like a heartbeat. Neither of them had spoken for hours. The Iron Ring was near, a place not on maps. A ring of old warships, wrecked cruisers, and pirate freighters chained together by cables and broken pride. Zixel muttered. Hope my contact's still alive, Timmy asked. You trust him? Zixel gave a dry chuckle. I don't trust anyone, but he owes me. The skimmer approached the ring. Dozens of guns locked on them instantly. A message blinked on the screen. Identify or die. Zixel typed quickly. Courier Zixel, code Dustrat 7. Silence. Then, granted. Dock at node 13. Zixel let out a breath. We're in, Timmy whispered. Feels like we're entering a graveyard. Zixel didn't deny it. Node 13 was a ruined cruiser, cracked metal, flickering lights. The air was thick and oily. They were greeted by a tall man in a torn jacket, half his face replaced with old machine parts. Zixel stepped forward. Gurn. The man smiled. Zixel the rat. I thought you were dead. Close, Zixel said. Need a favor. Gurn's cyber eye glowed. Let me guess. Trouble, blood, and betrayal? Zixel pointed to Timmy. This kid has something the whole galaxy wants, and I need to send it somewhere it matters. Gurn looked at the boy, then the crystal. Come, we'll see what's left of the signal tower. They followed Gurn through dark hallways full of drunk pirates, broken robots, and flickering monitors. No one asked questions. No one offered help. Finally, they reached the tower. It was a mess. Wires dangled like vines. The satellite dish was cracked and sparks popped from the control core. Gurn looked apologetic. We had a solar flare. Fried most of the system. Haven't used it in months. Zixel stepped forward. Can it be fixed? Maybe, Gurn said. But it needs someone brave or stupid to go outside and fix the relay arm manually. Zixel turned to Timmy. I'll do it. No, Timmy said quickly. You're still hurt. I'll manage, Zixel said. You stay here with Gurn. Get the file ready. Minutes later, Zixel was in a suit, outside the ring, walking, along the broken hull with magnetic boots. The stars stretched forever above him. No sound, just his own breath in the helmet. He reached the relay, cracked, frozen, exposed to vacuum. He pulled a new circuit board from his bag and began to repair. Back inside, Timmy stood over the console with Gurn. This file, it's proof of a secret weapon, Gurn whispered, scanning the data. If this gets to the council, they'll have no choice but to act. Timmy nodded. That's the plan. A small alarm beeped on the screen. Gurn frowned. Uh-oh. Outside, Zixel finished the repairs. The lights flickered. The relay hummed to life. Power's back, he muttered. Now send the ping. His helmet display lit up. Unidentified ship detected, then 2 more. Zixel's eyes widened. They're here. Inside, red lights flashed. Incoming. Multiple hostiles. Gurn cursed. They found you again. Timmy clenched his fists. We have to send it now, Gurn yelled. Zixel! They're landing on the opposite side. Zixel responded over comms. Send the message. I'll slow them down. No, Timmy cried. They'll kill you. I'll take that chance. Zixel climbed back inside the airlock, ripped off the suit, and grabbed a blaster from the wall. Timmy pressed send on the console. The data began to upload. Progress bar 3%, 4%, 5%. Gurn loaded a shotgun. They'll cut power first. We hold them here. Footsteps echoed outside. Timmy held the chip tight. It has to go through. The first door blew open. Zixel fired. Gurn shot back. Timmy screamed as the lights flickered. Progress bar 21%, 27%. A bounty hunter rolled in and fired. Gurn took a shot in the leg but stayed standing. Zixel threw a smoke bomb. The room filled with gray mist. Progress 50%. 61%. Timmy ducked under a table, pressing wires together, keeping the system alive. Zixel yelled, Timmy, hang on. I'm trying. Timmy shouted back. A grenade rolled near Timmy. He kicked it into a vent. Boom. More sparks. Progress bar 82%. 90%. Zixel was bleeding now. Gurn leaned on a console, panting. Kid, you're doing good. Finally, upload complete. The screen flashed green. Message sent to Council Satellite Relay. Timmy cried out in joy. We did it! Zixel shot one. Last hunter and slammed the door closed. They had won. For now. The remaining hunters retreated. They had failed. The bounty was lost. The Council would know the truth. Timmy collapsed into Zixel's arms. You made it. Zixel smiled through blood. So did you, kid. Gurn sat nearby, groaning. Remind me never to help you again. Zixel laughed. You say that every time. Later that night, Timmy stared at the stars again. They know now, he whispered. They know everything. Zixel joined him. And now they'll have to choose truth or silence. Timmy nodded. I'll keep fighting for Mom. Zixel looked proud. Me too, partner. The ship left the iron ring behind, sailing into the stars. The ship drifted silently through the star lanes, heading for neutral space. Zixel's arm was in a sling. Gurn had wrapped it using scraps from the medbay, joking that Zixel should stop, collecting injuries like trophies. But no one laughed, not even Zixel. The Council had received the message. But now, they waited. Timmy sat near the comms panel, checking it every hour. Still no reply. He mumbled. Zixel looked over from the pilot seat. They got the truth. But the council moves slow. Too slow. They're afraid, Gurn added from the back. What you sent, it changes everything. Timmy held the empty chip in his palm. The data was gone, but its weight still pressed on him. We should make them listen. Zixel turned around. What do you mean? Timmy looked up. We don't wait. We talk. To everyone. Gurn raised an eyebrow. You mean a public broadcast? Timmy nodded. Yes. We show the galaxy the truth, not just the council, everyone. Every station, every ship. Zixel stared at him surprised. That was bold. That was dangerous. But maybe it was right. They rerouted the ship toward Beacon Array 9, an old galactic broadcast tower floating in neutral space. It was meant for emergency messages, but its signal could still reach every known system. As they approached, Zixel muttered, "Let's hope it still works." The tower looked like a rusted dagger in the sky. Faded lights, cracked solar wings, no patrols, no guards. Perfect. They docked quietly. Gurn stayed with the ship. Zixel and Timmy entered the tower. Inside, it was freezing. Dust floated in the air. A broken chair turned slowly at the command station. Timmy stepped forward. This is it? Zixel nodded. If it lights up, the galaxy will hear you. Timmy took a deep breath. Okay. Zixel connected the ship's memory core to the tower's system. The screen flickered. Status. Operational. He turned to Timmy. Whenever you're ready. Timmy's hands trembled, his heart pounded. He wasn't a soldier, he wasn't even 12, but his mom had died for this. Lura had too. And Zixel had almost lost everything. He stood in front of the main camera. Zixel pressed transmit across the galaxy. Screens flickered, in spaceports, on starships, in marketplaces and bunkers, even deep in war zones, aliens, humans, hybrids. They all saw the same thing. A boy, small, quiet, brave, speaking alone in a cold metal room. My name is Timmy, he said, voice shaking slightly. My mother was a scientist. She found something terrible. A weapon made to destroy entire planets. A secret they didn't want anyone to know. He held up the now empty chip. She saved this and died to protect me. Zixel watched from behind the camera, his claws clenched. They chased us, Timmy continued. They hunted me. They tried to kill my friend Zixel. They burned down everything to hide the truth. He took a deep breath. But I'm still here. Because I believe someone out there will listen. Someone will care. Silence. Then, he looked straight at the camera. If you're hearing this, please don't let them win. Please, speak up. Share the truth. Help stop the war before it begins. He lowered his eyes. I'm just a kid, but maybe that's enough. Zixel pressed end transmission. Timmy turned. Was it okay? Zixel looked at him. Kid, you just shouted into the galaxy. Back at the ship, Gurn ran toward them. You did it. I saw the whole thing. He pointed to the ship's screen. Dozens of signals were already coming in. Messages, reposts, public reactions, outrage. The truth was spreading, but so was the danger. Just then, an alert. Hostile ships approaching. Zixel checked the radar. 5 warbirds, not bounty hunters. These are military. They're coming to silence us, Gurn said. Zixel grabbed the controls. Strap in. The ship pulled away from the tower as plasma blasts lit the sky. Timmy watched as the broadcast tower exploded behind them. They blew it up. But not fast enough, Zixel said, dodging laser fire. The message is out. They're too late. A fierce chase followed. The enemy ships pursued them across a dead moon, into rings of fire, and through a collapsing mining field. Zixel flew like a madman. Gurn handled the cannons. Timmy helped reroute power between systems. They fought together. Not just as survivors, but as a team. Finally, a neutral patrol cruiser appeared on the radar. This is Captain Varix of the Galactic Watch. Stand down or be fired upon. The enemy warbirds paused, then retreated. The broadcast had reached the watch. The truth had made it. Aboard the patrol ship, a message came through, direct from the Galactic Council. We've seen the message. We're launching an investigation. The boy and his guardians are under our protection now. Zixel leaned back in his seat. Guardians, huh? Timmy smiled. I like the sound of that. Gurn laughed. Looks like we're famous. The stars outside were still vast and cold, but this time, they didn't feel empty. Because across the galaxy, people were finally listening. And it all began with a scared little boy, and one alien courier who chose to help him. A week had passed. The ship was quiet, peaceful. For the first time in a long time, Timmy sat by the window, watching a sunrise rise over a blue and green planet. Not Earth, but something like it. Safe, clean, no bounty hunters, no warships. They called it Haven Station, a protected council world where refugees and whistleblowers were hidden. He held a cup of hot choco in both hands. It smelled sweet, like cinnamon. His feet didn't reach the floor. Zixel sat across from him, arms crossed, watching the boy silently. You're famous now, Zixel said. Timmy looked up, unsure how to feel. I didn't want to be. Zixel nodded. That's why you're the right one. Across the galaxy, the broadcast Timmy made was still spreading. Screens replayed his words on loop. Protests erupted. The council launched full investigations. Top generals were arrested. Secret labs were shut down. The war was paused, but not everyone was happy. Some still called Timmy a liar, a tool, a threat. He didn't listen anymore. He had said what needed to be said. Now he just wanted to go home. Later that day, a small council ship arrived. Zixel and Timmy were summoned to a meeting hall. Wide walls, marble floors, and soft, glowing lights. 3 council members stood waiting, 2 aliens and 1 old human woman with a cane. They didn't smile. The lead counselor spoke. You risked everything to show us the truth. Timmy nodded. My mom wanted peace. She died for it. The human counselor stepped forward. And you carried her voice across the stars. That was brave. Zixel stepped in. We're not asking for medals. You won't get any, the counselor said. Zixel raised an eyebrow. But you will get this: freedom, protection, and a choice. They gave Timmy a datapad. It showed Earth, his original home. His records had been restored. A human family, a distant cousin, had come forward. They were ready to adopt him. You could live a normal life, the woman said. Go to school. Be a child again. Timmy stared at the image. Blue skies, green trees, laughter. He had almost forgotten what that felt like. But then he looked at Zixel, and his heart felt heavy. Later, Timmy sat alone in the garden outside the council building. Strange birds flew overhead. The wind smelled like rain. Zixel walked up and sat beside him. You don't have to decide now, the alien said. Timmy kicked a pebble. Do you want me to go? Zixel didn't answer right away. Then, he said softly, I want you to be safe, happy. You deserve that. Timmy looked up. But I don't feel done. Not yet. There are still lies out there. Still people like me, who don't have anyone. Zixel smiled. So what do you want to do? Timmy grinned. Keep flying. 1 week later, Zixel's ship soared back into the stars, cleaned, repaired, upgraded by the council. Gurn stood on the landing pad as they left, waving with a cybernetic arm. Don't die again, Courier, Zixel laughed. Only if you stop charging me double. Inside, Timmy wore a new vest and had his own chair in the cockpit. He had a backpack full of supplies, a comlink, and a badge given to him by the council. Messenger of Peace. He didn't care for titles, but he liked the way it felt. Zixel looked over at him. Where to, partner? Timmy tapped the star map. Somewhere they need us. The ship turned and jumped to light speed. And somewhere on a forgotten planet, a scared child watched the old broadcast. He saw a boy his age, standing tall, speaking truth. He whispered, "I want to be brave too. Because sometimes, heroes don't wear armor, they don't carry medals. Sometimes heroes are just kids and an alien who chose to care."